Now, let's talk about Drake. If you thought his messy reputation couldn't sink lower, just wait, because rumors are flying that the so-called Drake-A-Wish Foundation is collapsing and his brand new tour is already in crisis only a few shows in after the disaster of the Anita Max Win tour, which ended abruptly in chaos. History seems to be repeating itself with his new Loser Link-Up tour, and it's only just begun. Drake, the 40-year-old who still insists on being called the boy, teamed up with Party Next Door for this latest run of shows, hyping it up like it would be his big comeback. But instead of proving his back in control, the whole thing is unraveling in record time. Fans were promised something special, but so far they've been treated to shaky performances, questionable stage antics, and whispers that organizers are already scrambling to keep things from falling apart. And let's not forget, Drake has been on a mission to save face after years of embarrassing LS. He tried distracting us with random collabs like his flat link-up with Central C and dropped bizarre hour-long artsy videos, including that infamous chase scene with Pinocchio that had everyone confused. These desperate stunts scream one thing. He knows his throne is slipping and is clawing at anything to keep himself relevant. Despite all the scandals, all the flops, and all the cringe content, Drake is pushing this narrative that is trying to win back fans, trying to rebuild hype, trying to prove that there are still people willing to shell out money for a Drake concert in 2025. But here's the kicker. The remaining fans who do ride for him aren't there for anything groundbreaking. They're just clinging to soft, pacifying music that barely scratches the surface. So the question now is simple. Is Drake's so-called comeback tour already turning into another public train wreck? Drake isn't just losing casual fans. Now it looks like he doesn't even care about the loyal ones who've stuck by him through every scandal and flop. What he just pulled with less than 24 hours before one of his For You tour dates is honestly one of the wildest, most baffling cancellations I've seen in recent music history. Here's the bombshell. Drake's Manchester concert on July 28 got cancelled at the very last second. The excuse? According to the arena and Drake's representatives, it was because of, quote, unforeseen ferry schedule and travel logistics. Yes, you heard that right. A global superstar worth hundreds of millions is now blaming a ferry schedule for bailing on thousands of paying fans. But here's where it gets shady. Drake wasn't even stuck somewhere far away. He had literally been in Manchester for days. He performed on July 25th and again on July 26th at the same arena. So, how does it make any sense that a travel issue suddenly popped up? Fans are demanding answers because it feels like nothing more than a lazy excuse to ditch his own show. Think about the scale of this mess. Tens of thousands of fans booked hotels, trains, and flights just to see him. The crew, staff, and arena all geared up to handle the chaos of another night. And then Drake hits them with a cancellation that sounds like a bad joke. For someone at his level, this wasn't just callous, it was downright disrespectful. So the real question is, was Drake hiding something bigger, or did he seriously just tank an entire show because of ferry issues? Either way, it's a terrible look and the fans aren't buying it. Here's the thing. When you're on tour, one of the easiest shows to pull off is the one that's already set up. The crew gets to rest. The stage is still in place. The lighting and sound are already locked in. Basically, all the heavy lifting is done. That's why this Manchester cancellation is raising eyebrows everywhere. There was no stage to rebuild, no crazy travel haul, nothing that would normally force a last-minute shutdown. And yet, Drake pulled the plug. Just like the bizarre Anita Max Win cancellations, this makes zero sense when you know how meticulously these big tours are planned. For a star of Drake's level, canceling a show at the very last second is unheard of unless something major goes down. But if you look at Drake, there was no emergency, no sudden crisis. He was out in public making TikToks, posting cringe videos, and acting like nothing was wrong. That's what makes this cancellation so suspicious. If he's got enough time to be online embarrassing himself, then why couldn't he step on stage for fans who paid hard-earned money to see him? It's not like he disappeared or had a personal emergency. He was literally around just doing Drake things. So, what are we left with? Only two real explanations. Either this was another classic case of poor ticket sales being swept under the rug, or Drake and his team tried to spin a weak excuse about travel logistics to cover up the truth. And remember, that's the exact same excuse they gave for the Anita Max win cancellations too. Coincidence? Or is this becoming Drake's signature move whenever the crowd doesn't show up? Let's keep it real. These shows aren't some last-minute pop-ups. Tours like this are planned months in advance with travel itineraries, venues, schedules, and logistics mapped out long before tickets even go on sale. That's why Drake's excuse about travel issues is laughable. It just doesn't add up no matter how you try to spin it. And now the backlash is brutal. Thousands of fans had their plans wrecked. People who booked hotels, bought train tickets, took days off work, and carved time out of their lives just to be there. Social media is lit up with fans raging at Drake, saying he straight up ruined their plans. For many, this wasn't just a concert. It was an entire weekend built around seeing him. And at the last minute, it all went up in smoke. Here's the kicker. This wasn't about slow ticket sales. This wasn't about lack of demand. The Manchester show was filling up and people were buzzing about it. Yet, Drake still pulled the plug at the 11th hour, leaving fans stranded with empty pockets and no real explanation. That's not just sloppy, it's disrespectful. So now everyone's asking what is really going on with Drake? Because if the arena was filling up and the fans were ready, why would he cancel without a solid reason? The logistics story is clearly bogus and the so-called explanation looks more and more like a flat-out lie. And when you lie to your fans, especially the ones still loyal enough to show up, that's when the cracks in your empire really start to show. When you really break it down, this whole mess exposes Drake's biggest flaw and why so many people see him as one of the most disappointing stars hip-hop has ever had. The truth is, Drake comes off as lazy, uncommitted, and completely wrapped up in his own little bubble where nothing matters except himself. Canceling a show at the last minute, rescheduling others, and leaving fans hanging without reason. It's not just bad business. It screams like he doesn't even care. At this point, it doesn't look like a scheduling issue at all. It looks like a commitment issue. Drake is showing the world he can't be bothered to show up, no matter how many fans are counting on him. And here's what makes it worse. This is a guy who brags non-stop about private jets, endless money, and access to anything he wants at any hour. Yet suddenly we're supposed to believe a ferry schedule is what stopped him from reaching the arena. Fans made it there. Crews made it there. The stage was literally already set up. So what's Drake's excuse? It just doesn't add up. This isn't just a one-time slip either. Drake has now cancelled or ducked out of more than 5 shows during this era alone. Every time the excuses get weaker and the pattern gets clearer. His running from responsibility and sinking his own tour with pure callousness. For an artist of his stature, that's not just embarrassing, it's career-threatening. And while Drake is out here cancelling shows like a lazy employee calling in sick, Kendrick Lamar is moving completely different. Since April, Kendrick hasn't cancelled a single date on his grand national tour. Rain, shine, whatever the conditions, he's been out there delivering unforgettable performances night after night. That consistency alone puts him on another level compared to Drake, who seems allergic to responsibility. When you put Drake and Kendrick side by side, the difference is embarrassing for Drake. Kendrick's shows aren't just concerts. They're monumental events, bigger than anything Drake ever pulled off, even at his peak. And yet, Kendrick still shows up. No excuses, no cancellations, no drama, just pure performance for the people who bought tickets to see him. Meanwhile, Drake acts like the worst coworker you've ever had, ducking out last minute and leaving everyone else to clean up the mess. This is exactly why Kendrick has ascended to a place Drake never reached. Even in his so-called prime, Kendrick doesn't sink expectations. He elevates them. As the first rapper to take hip-hop into a full-scale stadium tour, he isn't just representing himself, he's carrying the weight of the entire genre. And instead of folding under that pressure, he's proving hip-hop belongs on the biggest stages in the world. Industry insiders know it. Fans know it. Kendrick is reliable, he's professional, and he's a leader. No last-minute excuses, no fake travel issues, no nonsense. Just pure artistry executed flawlessly every single night. Nobody wins in situations like this. As someone who's seen how the touring world really works, I can tell you every cancellation hits dozens of people hard. The crew working behind the scenes, they lose out on money. The fans, they wasted time, energy, and cash only to be told to come back next month. Even the employees at the venue who already adjusted their schedules once now have to rearrange their lives just to accommodate Drake's mess. It's chaos for everybody involved. And that's what makes this so ugly. Drake's not just being difficult, he's being flat out unprofessional. This isn't about being picky. This isn't about being a diva. This is about failing to deliver on the most basic expectation. Show up and perform. For years, people called him the face of hip-hop. But moments like this prove he never should have been trusted with that crown in the first place. Meanwhile, fans can't help but compare him to Kendrick Lamar, who's out here selling out stadiums night after night, putting on shows that people call once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Drake, on the other hand, is canceling karaoke-level performances because he doesn't feel like it. The contrast is brutal, and it makes his so-called comeback look more pathetic with every excuse he throws out. And now the ripple effect is starting to show, because when Drake cancels a show like this, it's not just about one night being ruined. It plants doubt in everybody's mind. Promoters start asking if he's worth the risk. Sponsors begin questioning whether they want their brand tied to him, and fans who were once loyal are now hesitant to buy tickets in advance. Nobody wants to spend hundreds of dollars just to get played by a last-minute travel issue excuse again. This is the kind of damage that can haunt an artist for years. Touring is where the real money is made in music today, and Drake's building a reputation as unreliable at the exact moment his career needs stability the most. Compare that to Kendrick Lamar. Promoters know Kendrick will show up. Fans know Kendrick will deliver, and venues know Kendrick will fill the building. Drake, on the other hand, is looking more like a gamble than a guarantee. And let's not forget the optics. Fans are already clowning him online, turning every cancellation into a meme, mocking him for being lazy and calling him the no-show king. Once the internet stamps that label on you, it sticks. Even worse, it makes him look scared. Scared of bad ticket sales, scared of empty arenas, and scared of facing the truth that his star power isn't what it used to be. At the end of the day, this isn't just about Manchester, it's about trust. And right now, Drake is breaking it at every level, from fans to industry insiders. That's the real loss. And it's one he can't just cover up with another collab or gimmicky music video. So, let's circle back to the big question. Who's really winning this beef right now? Drake's out here canceling shows, fumbling excuses, and looking like he's spiraling again, while Kendrick and even Pusha T are stacking win after win. But I want to hear from you. What do you think Drake's cancellations mean for the rest of this tour? Is this the beginning of another meltdown from the so-called boy, or is he about to shock everybody with a comeback move? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is getting wild. And if you've made it this far into the video, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with somebody who needs to hear it. It helps the channel out more than you know. Oh, and don't go anywhere, because right before this disaster, things got even uglier for Drake when Pusha T came through with a brand new disc, flexing one of the coldest victory laps we've seen in years after dropping one of the hardest rap albums of the decade. You don't want to miss that breakdown. Check out the suggested video right